Okay, hopefully. Hopefully. Come on. Okay. Testing. Because I've got the colors on. Take that off. Uh, Right. Just echo the sound. Hmm. Hello, everybody. Alright.
Any other than from the buffalo that were around here this morning. And it's amazing looking at the road after the buffalo have come through. How much they have opened up the soil again, which is probably a great thing for these roads after all this rain that we've had. You can see how there's a bit of a crust over the road, and we've still got so much flowing water that's got nowhere to go. So after these buffalo have been walking here, it's kind of opened up the soil a bit, and hopefully then we're going to get some drainage once more where it starts to seep back into the earth. So I'm just having a good look in the shady spots here. I think Ali mentioned to you guys this morning that there were reports of some other lions around that were following the buffalo this morning. Nobody actually saw them, but we just got some news from a guide in another location saying that it seemed like there was tracks for a pride of lions following these buffaloes. So I was wondering if it wasn't them that the bushbuck saw. It's rather sunny here, not too many shady spots for lions to be hanging out, and very long grass. Tina, a very happy International Women's Day to you as well. Here in South Africa, perfect day for all the ladies to be chilling in a swimming pool somewhere, sipping on a cocktail if you'd like. We're going to keep checking around here, folks, and I'm going to pass you on over to Ali, who's already had some luck.
Well, hopefully all of the other ones are sipping cocktails. So this seems to be Marie.
Yes.
She did indeed come and scavenge off of. I was gonna say Tandi, but I actually mean Lalamba's kill. There's quite a bit left up in the tree, but Lalamba's nowhere near around here, and he's just very nicely tucked in the grass. It's very hot today, as I was saying earlier. Look how hard he's panting. So maybe he's just eaten quite a bit, and then now he's hot because it's also a hot day. So, nice, wet, cool grass, shade, perfect place to be, creating maybe a microclimate where he can just cool down a little bit. Steve did come out here in the middle of the day, I think, and then he just reported that perhaps Mareebs was around. and that he had been on Tandy's kill, and that there was also maybe the same male battalier that we saw earlier was around here and just pecking at a bit of the kill. I mean, when the cat is away, all of the other cats or potential predators come and try to eat from whatever is left from the kill. So it's been interesting. There's a lot left, I think. Tandy, I don't know why I want to call her Tandy. Tlalamba should come back to this. Freddy, well, I can't really claim credit for finding the first cat because we kind of already hoped that they will be here. But very happy that we actually have one so earlier on in the afternoon so that we can all enjoy it for quite a while. My question is now, where is Tlalamba? Where did she go? Because in the last couple of days that Saber and Steve have been around here, and James, they were mentioning that she's been acting a little bit funny, and they mentioned or hinted at the possibility of her maybe having more than one kill. Maybe she's got more than one kill that she's stashed somewhere. When we have really nice big thunderstorms, you'll find that often because there's so much commotion and the wind is blowing everywhere and the animals cannot hear properly and the wind is just swirling, it's sometimes a little bit disconcerting for prey species, and often lions and leopards will get lucky on their hunts on those periods. So it could be that maybe she's got another kill somewhere else, we don't know. But I would like to actually, we're going to stay a little bit here with Marib, see if maybe he decides to sort of turn around and go up. But while it's still very hot, I'd like to head down sort of towards Treehouse Dam and then just have a look there. There's a lot of water there, so it could be that maybe Tlalamba's gone that way. I know Saber had it on Weaver's Nest this morning. So, I mean, she could have got into the drainage. Maybe she went down for a drink and then rested there. Oh, look at you. I think you got lucky, because you didn't really try that hard for those impala today, and you let the wind give you away. I was checking the wind and I saw what you did. Lies in shame, not bothered, because he still got a meal at the end of the day. How he found it, I'm not sure. He could have spotted the kill from if he was around here, but he was in the drainage, and if he had carried on coming this way, maybe the wind would have blown in the right direction and he picked up the scent. I mean, the distances and the sensibility of his animal senses compared to us, it is something that astounds me every day. So there's maybe a bit of luck involved as well. So maybe he just came around here. Tlalamba had already gone, found a kill on its own. There's absolutely no reason why he wouldn't go up there and try to feed or stick around with the kill. Now, if Tlalamba were to come back today, I don't think she'd be too impressed. She wouldn't like sharing her kill. Even if they're sort of half-brother and sister, she wouldn't like sharing her kill with another male. Or just any other leopard that she's not closely related to, for that matter. Cubs excluded, that's potentially the only times when you'll see sort of leopards joining other leopards. It's either if they're mating and they sort of end up sharing the kill, or if it's the case of, leopards that are related, like a mama and the cubs. And then sometimes, of course, in the Sabi-san, because they are doing everything that we always said that leopards didn't do, you'll also find sort of young male offsprings and their fathers together, which is quite unusual, but we've seen it quite a few times in this area. Not sure if other areas in the world have reported the same thing, but we spend enough time with them to know what they get up to. There's always an exception to every rule, isn't there? I'm surprised Tlalamba left though. There is quite a bit, so there's water not too far. She left early in the morning, so I don't know what her stomach situation looks like. I don't know if maybe she's sort of stashed cubs somewhere and then she's gone there and then maybe she'll come back. But from what I've seen on social media or from what I've been told, I don't think she's got any cubs, or nobody suspects that she might have cubs. I might be mistaken on that, but if you've got a different update, feel free to send it through. I like this is like a soap opera. Sometimes life gets in the way. You're not able to keep up with everything, but then, we come back here and it's just like this massive load of information where you're just like, oh, and this has been doing this and this has been doing that. It's like reading the paper almost. See, there's another battalier flying in the distance.
We have left Galago Pan, checking for any signs of what the predator was there today that the bushbuck or Inyala were alarm calling at. Can't see see anything, but it is very warm right now. So if there is anything in the area, it's likely seeking some shade. So I think we're going to head back there a little bit later once it cools down and check again. Now we're just looping around. Gonna end up at Djuma Dam shortly, see if there's anything going on there. There's some crested francolins that just ran across the road. I think they've disappeared into the grass. Yeah. Gone. They have their days where they don't want to get off the road at all, and it's like they forgot they have wings. Clearly not today. Telling you guys, it is hot out here. Vika and I have lathered the sunblock on. Layers of it.
When they said women don't belong in the bush, we grabbed our binoculars and bush Bibles and showed them why they should shush. When they said women don't belong in game viewers, we jumped behind the wheel and their comments soon became fewer. When they said women aren't meant to wear makeup in the wilderness, we applied an extra layer of mascara and gave our best war cry. When they said women cannot change those tires, we grabbed our spanners and gave them a tutorial to admire. When they said women aren't meant to handle rifles because surely it will backfire, we showed them it's not that difficult a skill to acquire. When they said women don't know how to track animals, we found a leopard and, well, left them with chills. Now they say women do belong in the bush, behind the wheel of a game viewer, can wear their war paint in the wilderness, can change those tires, know how to handle rifles, and are able to formidably track animals. We are women, lesser spotted Homo sapiens, just like any other. We don't just belong, we dominate. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy International Women's Day. It is I, Lisa, your waterhole naturalist, and I've got an elephant to show you at the beautiful Okukoya waterhole. Now, apart from the elephant, you might probably be wondering, what are all of these weird birds? These are Abdom storks. If you follow this camera or if you follow us on Escape to Nature, you will know that they have been around for quite some time. They are seasonal migrators and they follow the rain because they look for insect outbreaks. Now, this is a young bull elephant as well that we've had visit us today as well. But he's come back to say hello to all of you and happy Women's Day to all of the women out there. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. And of course, gentlemen, we have not forgotten about you. We love you too. But today it's about us. Now, of course, it's not just about us. It's about the females in the bush. However, this elephant, unfortunately, is a bull. Not a female, but that's all right. I'm sure we will see lots of female animals today on safari. But while we are looking at this beautiful elephant, let us also take a look at a beautiful video clip of another elephant.
An elephant matriarch is the epitome of feminine strength, power, and protection. She and her sisters, cousins, daughters, and aunts maintain elephant society, raising the calves with love, mentorship, and when necessary, firm discipline. From a very early age, young elephant cows are imbued with a sense of responsibility for the vulnerable members of the herd. They will play gently with the little ones, making sure that no harm comes to them. If ever a calf should be orphaned, the mantle of parenthood will fall to the feminine collective. But the matriarch's role is much more than that of protector. She is also leader and mentor to every member. Her experience and memories will take the herd to water and feeding grounds depending on the seasons. It is she and the older cows who must take the decision to exclude bulls as they reach adolescence. Finally, when she is too old to lead any longer, she will extract from the herd to the banks of a river to live her final years in solitude.
Good afternoon. Welcome everyone on a beautiful day, International Women's Day. We are
Elephant.
here at Eco Training Pride and Safari Life in Ndlovu Dam. We are live at the dam now with the breeding heart of elephant. Such amazing. We are surrounded with the matriarch herd that is behind us. It's such amazing. All this, so you see in front of you at the moment, they're all young males that decided, all of them, to get inside the water and have fun for our afternoon. From myself as the naturist, and Rexon is my name, and Owen behind the camera, we are looking for a great day. I'm very excited because sometimes there's a big elephant behind the vehicle. It's about like 10 meters away. All of them, they're peaceful. What we have seen here that's very strange earlier on, before we were not live, we have seen this particular herd. All of them, majority of them are old male. They're chasing one individual female, trying to mate with that particular female. So most of them that are here, as they're leaving from my left, oh no, I can hear someone here just behind us, I mean in front of us. If you look at the majority of them are leaving, all of them, they are young males. In particular, they're looking for that female to mate. It's unbelievable. It's a great warm day, and you can see, look at that. Oh, and if you can see more to my right, they're still chasing the female, and the female is just stationary. There's a big 2 elephant that just arrived now, and they're all looking great. Oh, look at this. Looks like it's dancing inside water, making a lot of noise. It's really unbelievable. It's one of the best sighting, of course, that I have of the elephant, with all that surrounded us. It's not only that you see even behind on the side of a road, we all covered with the elephant here, but they're very peaceful, even if they show interest of want to mate the female. And now the big male have arrived. If you look at from that big male to the left on the knopthorn tree, that is a female that she's in ostrich, I believe, in Mars. So all these young males are taking chances to follow that particular individual. You can realize that mating is very important. If you calculate it here, it could be more than, if I'm not mistaken, more than 20-25 males altogether. They're looking opportunity of mating with this particular female. So mating, it's a big competition. Of course, if you get chance of mating, you are so lucky. Look at that. Is the young male, they're playing a mating sort of game inside water. A lot of time when it comes to elephant, mating take place in water because these are huge animals. They cannot able sometimes get tiring if they mate out of water. It needs lots of energy. Where inside the water, it happens very easy. If you look at them, water can able to give a little bit of help to a little bit floating inside water, then they can mate so easily. I wonder where is the matriarch of that particular female. It could be happen that they selected the female and she was running away from the rest of the herd and able to be with the compound of the male here. I can see 1 or 2 female that getting inside water to our left, while the others are still a little bit having entertainment of swimming here. Yeah, that's cute. And let's take this opportunity from Ndlovu Dam Prideland Eco Training over to Amakhala.
Yes, indeed. Good day. Hello, Mulweni, and welcome to the Sunset Safari, where we're coming to you live from the Amakhala Game Reserve in the Eastern Cape Province. And here, what a sight we have managed to catch up with. This is the two female lions with 4 little cubbies, and they're going to walk right past us out in the open on the grassy plain. What a beautiful sight that is. Now, let's just do it quickly. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and on the camera I've got Mpo, that's his thumb. Let's go back to the cats. Bah! Because this is absolutely beautiful. We haven't seen them out in the open. They've been sticking to the thickets, and this is just fabulous. Fabulous. How cool is that? The little youngsters playing. No sign of the male, but this couldn't be better. Little birds being disturbed, Cape Longclaw. See that youngster going to stalk the female as she comes up at the back. Probably going to run at her, let's see. No, changed its mind, it's going to go off and play with its siblings. Very, very special. As always, the little cubbies, very playful. Lots of learnings to be had with that playful nature of theirs. Learn how to tackle, chase, stalk. Happy Whiskers Wednesday. Thanks, Jade. That is a good one. I like it. Now, they are moving rather quickly. I wonder where they're off to, because it's quite unusual. They've brought them right up out of the Bushman's River Basin, and they're going to walk right past us. They're carrying on, so it's going to be interesting to see where they do in fact take them. The other day I had the big female, which is the one with the collars, tracks up in the area that they're heading towards now. And I wonder if she did a little bit of a scouting mission. Maybe they're going to move on over that side. No sign of the male. Wonder where he is. He's probably stolen another one of their kills, and maybe they've decided, well, we're going to move on out while you have your feed. So I'm just going to have to turn a little bit. They seem like they might be heading on out of visual, so we're going to have to relocate altogether and head on back around, because they've gone just over the ridge here. So let's just see though, turn a little bit, see if we can get another view on them, but it might require a total move altogether. Let's just see though. I don't think you can see them from their own port. Lutu. Okay, I think we'll have to head around a little bit of a leapfrog and see if we can catch up with them. Looks like they've disappeared. But they're still in the open, and we do have a lovely road that we'll have to use just to go and get in front of them once again. People can see them from up top there. But what a beautiful sighting that was. To start the show for us here in Amakhala, I'm going to see if we can get a better sight on them. So stick around.
We hope that when you watch Wild Earth, you will fall in love with nature. We know that our explorers share a passion for nature and want to make a difference. Wild Earth Schools is back. Sign up to be an explorer, and your subscription will help us reach the future conservationists of our planet. Invest in something that truly matters, encouraging children to care for our beautiful Wild Earth. Wild Earth Explorers, make a difference.
groovy. It's really magic here. The rest of the herd that we on is where the young female are involved. I was saying earlier on, the mating take place most of the time in the multiples numbers of males, and it depends most of the time if you're physically healthy and strong enough when it comes to running and defending, where you find that sometimes with my experience that I've realized or learned from the elephant, there was 5-6 male involved, where 4 young males were very, very young, and they're able to run with the same speed of the female. What does, they run straight to the female and try to chase the female. Seeing the female runs, they stay behind it, because the heavy males, they cannot run for kilometers. But what I've realized most of the time, the female never ever allowed those young males, even they try to mate while still running. What does, he able to run so fast and able to join the bigger male later on, the one that is healthy, sexual healthy. And in true males, you tend to see him defending a lot, chasing all the females, trumpeting, and make sure that it doesn't allow anyone get close to that individual female. This is how actually they secure the female when it comes to mating. It's magic, unbelievable to see, and very aggressively so if you tend to see and analyze the behavior of a male once he's full mass and the female is close by. They tend to be like not really accepting any young males to get close involved, and separate, they will separate themselves and go into area, thickets, and also in the water source, big dam, big waters that like Ndlovu Dam, that will help quite a lot for them to help the mating, make it very light, especially with the big bulls. I don't know, Owen, if you can see that heavy male elephant bull that we saw swagging on the road today or yesterday, and he was like showing that he's in mass. He doesn't take any notice of anything at the moment, that he's the only menhir or the only elephant in the reserve, because he's in mass and he tends to walk with the attitude towards anything that might be coming across with him. He spent a lot of time on the road, and that is one of the signs to show that the elephant's in mass. So during that moment, it's healthy to stay away from that individual, because it's really looking for opportunity, more especially if he gets the scent of the female and on his way to meet with the female. Let me try to reposition myself. There's quite a lot of action behind the tree here. I just want to see if we can able to view that. All the big elephants now at the moment, you can see them not going to move out of it, because the tree itself is providing. But the spot that we're on is where the action is going to take place. They're going to do swimming quite a lot of here. So we're in a very best position. Of course, if they decided all the big elephant to come down here, and it will be able to in a very good position. Now let us take this opportunity from the breeding area in Ndlovu Dam and expecting mating of the elephant. Don't go far. We'll take you over to Ellie.
Well, we came all the way down to Twin Dams hoping for some elephants in the water, and they're not quite in the water, but at least they're around, which is nice because we didn't see any elephants this morning, and we were definitely missing them. So we've got, it seems, 3 bulls, and it was quite interesting. But before you guys came over to us, they were sort of, the 3 of them had their heads very close to one another, and they were touching each other and then putting their trunks on their faces and in their mouth. So almost like, you know, I haven't seen you in a long time, friend type of greeting, which was interesting because they're being very gentle with each other. Every now and again there's a bit of irritation because they are males after all, so they push each other, but they've been doing exactly that. They touch each other with the trunk, and then they had their 3 heads together. The one that you can't see is just to the right of the one that's not as wet, the one in the middle. And they seem quite peaceful because the one on the left just sort of joined the other two now, and you can see he's been in the water a little bit more recently. The other two have just, from what I can see here, have just been spraying some mud. And there was a bit of, push. You could hear the ivory just banging against each other, but overall I think they're pretty relaxed. I think they might just be enjoying the warm weather today. The fact that they went into the water now. I can't really move from where I am. I can go and do quite a long turn because I'm a bit nervous at how wet this road is, or this part of the road is, because it's definitely not dry around Twin Dams area. And I saw the Molowasi flowing, which was quite something. I hadn't seen that in a while. There we go. And these guys are just pushing each other. So there's a big hole on the road. So it's part of the reason why I'm not going that much forward. Also, just to kind of let them be themselves. But we'll see. I'll give them a bit of a chance, see what they're after, and if not, then I'm going to try to go forward, see if we can get a better view of them. Because at one stage when we arrived, I thought maybe one of them was just sleeping on the road, and then the other one came and joined. Then they kind of pushed each other, and then they've been doing this. I'm going to just stand there. Why are you pushing each other up? Unfortunately, I think any which way we're apart, we're going to have a tree in the way. Waldo, you're saying you just love seeing elephants feeding. It's quite interesting because they do. What was it? Oh, I heard something and I thought maybe it was a distant elephant, but it's actually a truck on the main road. It's nice when they feed, especially when they get almost like that rhythm, like you can do it with your eyes closed. Grab the grass, shake the grass, up and down the trunk, and then boom, into the mouth, and then they eat it. I think that's quite nice, and I enjoy seeing that. When they start pushing down big trees and so on, it's impressive, because, just the pure strength that they've got to have to do that, it's quite mighty. But don't necessarily love it too much when they break the trees and the branches. When they stretch, when they try to pull their trunk all the way up to get to the higher branches of the tree, or when they shake the trees, that is pretty cool, I must say. I really enjoy that. And then, of course, I'm sure you've seen some social media and so on. There are certain parts in Africa where Ellies have learned to stand on their back legs. The two particular places where they do this is in the lower Zambezi and Mana pools, in Zambia and Zimbabwe. And they've learned to sort of, particularly the bulls, to go up on their back feet and then just pull the branches down so that they can feed, especially on the Anna tree pods, as it's a plant that fruits during the dry season. And it just pretty much becomes a staple diet for all the creatures around. So the elephants shake the trees or break the branches, and then they make that food readily available for everyone else that can't reach. Hello. You are feeding as you go. Very sharp tusks, this guy. If we just wait a little, he's going to come into view. Seems like Rex is having a great view of these elephants, so let's rather go to him, because ours are being a little bit shy.
Lovely. Let us look at this elephant. All of them, they're facing towards where the dominant male, or male that is in mass at the moment. I'll call it a dominant because he's full in mass. He's in charge. He's in control. The others are just following and waiting. See how these young males are all waiting for mating. It's a Women's Day. You can see how important women are into our life. Without women, we won't be entertained in this world, because we'll be very lonely. And all these even young males, they are coming very close. But what is going to happen, it will be disciplined there. They won't get close to a strong male. That it means that the male itself is really in mass. See how gentle is the male. He knows that the female is in mass, but he's not even coming close to the female. What he's trying to do at the moment is to protect as much as he can, that there will be no young male touching the female. Is now his responsibility to do so. It's great. I can see all the females are getting close, and you'll be happy with all females. Young males are more to the western side of that female, and now trying to make sure that it will be only the female that get close, because you know that. Listen to that. The rumbling of a vocal box as they get close. is actually communicating. They are communicate. They know that exactly what the male after and the female what actually is taking place. The only thing that will do, even female getting close to a male, they'll be very much conscious because they know that a male, if he's in mass, of course, is zero tolerant. Compared to all the female, look at the height of the male and the head of the male, even from the distance, because it's very hot at the moment. We cannot able to get close to where they are. This is the best and comfort area where we are standing at the moment and able to view this beautiful, beautiful, majestic animal. Look at the head size compared to the female. It's magic. And of course, while we're still here in Ndlovu Dam with this beautiful elephant, we have an opportunity now cross over to Madikwe, to Cedric, and able to join the afternoon safari.
Yes, thanks, Rexon. As we got sitting here with a whole flock of helmeted guinea fowl, just busy plucking around here at the grasses and eating all the little seeds that's dropping down to the ground and sitting on top of the grasses itself. And definitely they are enjoying every little bit of it. Of course, all the females and the youngsters. But yes, a very good afternoon to everybody. My name is Cedric Dold, and behind the camera with me this afternoon once again is Igor. So thank you so much for joining us, and happy International Women's Day today. It's definitely everything for you ladies, and I'm sure that I'm going to try and find as many female animals as possible. So yes, so I'm hoping it's going to be a good day, but it is a very warm day at Madikwe. As you can see, the sun is out. The birds are busy feeding around here, and it is definitely quite amazing afternoon. But yes, looking at these helmeted guinea fowl, and definitely we've got a director, and of course a lovely lady director there at FC. Her name is Melanie. We know she's known as a Mel, and her spirit animal is the helmet guinea fowl. She loves the helmet guinea fowl. I think it reminds me a lot of her as well. Nice kind of beautiful colorations on the body, beautiful little speckles, blue head, and a beautiful red helmet on top. But yes, I'm hoping that all you ladies throughout the world is having a wonderful day. And yes, I'm sure that we are going to celebrate this one with you. But I love it just seeing these helmeted guinea fowls. We don't get the crested guinea fowl this side, down in the western side of Madikwe. Of course, the crested guinea fowl is the one that almost got like a beautiful perm on top of its head, a black perm. Of course, these helmeted guinea fowls got that very kind of rough and hard helmet, a red helmet right on top. And this one's got a couple of youngsters here, so there is some females with young ones here, so it is quite pretty. I'm just trying to see if we can pick up on the little ones here, little chicks. It's very difficult. They're not like small. They may be just about sub-adults. And there's about 3 or 4 of them that's hanging around with this flock for the afternoon. But you can just see the heads are bobbing up and down and feeding together all around this area. And at night time they will all go perch in the tree at night time. Shakira, yes, definitely. They both got that red helmet. Males are more prominent compared to a female, as well as you got like a little wattle at the bottom of the beak, and you'll find that the male's got a red wattle, much like a longer wattle, like a kind of a red skin that's hanging at the bottom of the beak itself. But they are fantastic. These are definitely one of the birds, one of the indicators that we've used many a time for any predators that's around, from snakes to slender mongoose, birds of prey, leopards, things like that. Guinea fowl is always one of those indicators, and they always make a huge racket if there is anything that's like any predator.
Pardon me.
And I love it, and that's always gets my feathers all ruffled up when I hear them alarm calling. But these ones are very much relaxed, and definitely doesn't seem like there is anything around here for now. Just a lot of heat.
Well, we took a page out of Lalamba's book and then we decided to go wandering about just to see if we could find anything. And besides those elephants that we saw, it actually seems to be a bit on the quiet side, which I'm surprised because considering how hot it is, I would have expected animals to be more out in the open or just chilling and just enjoying the warmth. But I suppose some of them are like Mareebs. So we're not used to this heat because it's been so cold the last couple of days that everyone's just hiding. But there were some fresh signs for an elephant herd, so I think maybe the ones that we saw earlier were just a bunch of young bulls that are maybe starting to find independence or maybe just are trailing the herd from a distance because they all looked fairly young. I mean, and it's not uncommon for younger bulls to associate together, so they seem to be about in their 20s or so. Still fairly mature already, but maybe they had an interest. And they were trailing the herd because they seem to be moving in the direction of where we found a lot of other elephant tracks and signs for a herd of elephants to have been around. But I mean, if I were an elephant, I would probably be in the Molawati right now, nice and cool. Would be the place. If I were a hippo, I would also be in the Molawati right now. I'm not sure if I would be in there. I mean, the lions are even there, so it's obviously the place to be. But I'm slowly making our way back towards where Mareebs is because I am hoping that Lalamba is eventually going to reveal herself and come back and show us, or show actually Mareebs whose kill it really is. You know, a little bit of female power to complement this entire International Women's Day theme drive. that would be quite nice. Ooh. I cannot get over just how much water there is still flowing everywhere, even in the higher reaches of Juma and the crests and so on. The ground is completely saturated. It's amazing to see just how much rain we had because, you know, the environment is just not coping with it. It's still letting it flow freely. So I think this winter we're going to freeze. I feel like this is going to be another cold winter, just by judging by the amount of water that we've had everywhere. And the amount of water that will be around, so don't really want to get a buffalo thorn to the leg. Don't recommend it. It's not a nice feeling.
I got tonight. Do not tonight. Gonna go.
Seems like our batalier friend has also left, so he was not interested in sticking around. Maybe he went to find his lady, take her out on a date, scavenge together. Maybe that's a batalier date, you know? That's the way that they celebrated. Here, honey, I found you a dead snake. You can eat it. That would be International Female Batalier Day. Look at us humanizing everything more than we should. But it is fun, isn't it? Olaf is looking at me like I'm crazy, but he's laughing. I can tell everyone that he's laughing. And when I point this out, he laughs even more. We've got to have fun while we can.
Yeah.
Alright, Mareebs. When we go there, I really hope that you will be on the tree, or at least in a more visible spot, doing Mareebs-like things. You can be dangling up a branch if you want. This morning was, I think that was one. It's one of my favorite leopard moments, and, and full of water. They're beautiful. I love it.
Or
Okay. Come on, Rusty.
two.
Alright, here we go again, round 2. Sorry, Mel, what is my favorite, my favorite what? Attribute? Sorry, I just didn't get that question. No leopard on tree. Sorry, is the question, what is my favorite attribute about mud in the bush? About? Mothers in the bush. Okay, sorry, I don't know why. Thank you, Olaf. I don't know why my brain just didn't want to compute that. No, that sounds like a very appropriate question that I just missed entirely. I can see you, cat. I'm coming back for you. Sorry, I'm just going to turn around in a way that we can see him better. Yeah, I also love mud in the bush, Mel, but I feel like mothers was a more appropriate question that I completely missed. Let me just reverse, and then I will get onto that question. But I think maybe one of the things that I enjoy the most about mothers in the bush is just their fierce loyalty and their fierce need to protect their young. I think every mother that you see in the bush, and we tend to say that, given the case, sometimes the mother will abandon their young and then just go and do their own thing if they see that the young will not make it if they're injured and so on and so forth. So Maribs is in there somewhere. But I think they will do that once they've sort of exerted it or just tried every other option possible. I mean, if you think of lions, if you think of hyenas, if you think of leopards, their instinct is there, and their loyalty to their offspring is just so endearing. Doesn't matter what type of mother it is, that they will always, will always go to the aid to protect their young when they're small and vulnerable. Once they start becoming a little bit older and they become almost like teenagers, then I think the tables turn. So I think that is quite interesting. And in animals that live in family groups, I think one of the most interesting things is just to see how the knowledge is passed from a mother to sort of the next female offspring that will also become a mother, and how they share this information. And I find it fascinating because we don't know that much about how they share this information. We know that, for example, elephants or female elephants, we call it the grandmother effect, where they store or they have all of this information and they pass down from generation to generation. We know they share this information, we just don't know exactly how. And I think to me that is fascinating, how we are geared to team up, which sometimes I find it very relatable to women. We're geared to team up with other females because that will make our chances of succeeding potentially better. And then sometimes if you get, which also applies sometimes in the human form, if you get the sneaky female that just wants to do everything on their own, sometimes they're not as successful, especially when they go around hurting other females. So I think what I'm trying to say, I think it works better if we all team up with each other rather than trying to make each other trip. Hey Maribs, you, on the other hand, don't believe in anything that I'm saying, do you? You couldn't be bothered less about this whole female and mothers and things. Although I must say, Tandy was a great mother to Maribs, and we were always giggling because Maribs stuck around with Tandy a lot more, or for a longer period of time, because Tandy, in our experience, she liked sort of pushing her offspring quite young. I mean, at 1.5 years, Tamba, Tlalamba, they were just, off you go. You be a brave sort of leopard and an adult, and she was quite aggressive to her youngster. And with Maribs, maybe she was getting a bit older, maybe because Maribs was her favorite, we don't really know. She seemed to have a little bit more patience with him and just hung out with him for a little bit longer, which is always very nice to see. And I mean, just goes to show how successful she was. I was trying to find out recently, I was looking into how successful female leopards are in general, or per average, how many offspring do they rear in their lifetime. And then obviously I went to the source of information about leopards, Tristan, and I asked him, and he said that on average maybe they'll have sort of 5 litters that they almost raise to adulthood, but that most females on average in the studies, of course we've got the exceptions, and here in the northern Sabi-San we've got a bunch of females that have been very exceptional in raising their youngs, Tandy Marib's mother being one of them, that they raise almost only 2 litters to adulthood, and then that is considered quite a successful female, which I think it's very little. I don't know, my personal experience is that it is more. I don't know where Tristan got this information, but I would reckon that he checked it from somewhere. So he was my source of information when it came to this, because I was thinking about Safari and Karula and Salaesh and so on, and just trying to add up, offspring and so on. So 2 sounds like a good number to successfully, reared litters of cubs that make it to adulthood, and then if they die as adults, well, that's just a different casualty altogether. But I think Tandy, did really well. Of the ones around this area, we can still see this little delinquent boy that's hiding in the shade, stealing the kill from his sister Tlalamba. And there's, of course, Kuchava still around here that we see quite often. So that's 3 for her, which is good. And sadly, Tamba's not around anymore. He's also a male leopard, and he's sort of moved down towards the western Sabi-San. So he's seen quite a bit around Savannah and Julini and sometimes in Gita. So he's down there. So it's 4 for her, which is, a lot of the ones that we can see around here, or in this general vicinity. I think we're gonna send you guys to see a cute clip of a much smaller cat that's also got a lot of spots, and it is one of my very favorite creatures.
Being a lone female out in the wilderness is tough. In many
Right.
respects, it is much tougher than being a lone male. This, of course, is because the burdens of single motherhood are manifold. This serval mum must defend a territory from other servals. She must make sure that strange males unrelated to her kittens do not find and kill them. Then she must keep her little ones from being discovered by predators, moving them surreptitiously from den to den when their smell becomes too obvious, hoping that when she leaves them to go hunting, they will behave, keeping silent and not straying from the safe place she has created. She must provide for her and kittens' nutritional needs, suckling them and then hunting for them as they wean. She must clean them, comfort them, and teach them. Sadly, she must mourn them if they are killed. This is a burden and pain she must bear entirely alone.
Wow, that is an animal that I have not seen in a very long time, a serval. Amazing. I'd love to come across one of those again. Serval and caracal. Haven't seen either of them for a very long time. And there are really spectacular cats, and you know, the bigger ones might be slightly easier to find. But in these areas here in the Sabi Sands and the Greater Kruger, the competition with the bigger cats like leopards and lions sort of restricts the numbers of servals and caracals. They will catch and eat them if they can. I've seen Shidulu eat African wildcats, I think 2 or 3 times. Very opportunistic creatures. But yeah, another solitary cat that has to do it all on her own, go through motherhood all by herself. Who run the world? Girls.
Girl power. Power.
So at the moment, guys, we're actually looking for some buffalo. We saw some tracks for them coming through into this area, very close to where Maribs is with Talamba's kill. And where we were first looking for tracks for the buffalo, where they were headed off to last this morning, we also saw tracks for Talamba, most likely, or tracks for a female leopard. And they were heading off straight to Galago Pan, so that is most likely what I could hear the bushbuck and the Inyala alarm calling at, was her, because they crossed straight over the road into the thickets, into the block between the 2 roads to the pan. So that's most likely the culprit and not the new lions like I'd hoped for, but still great news. And when it's a bit cooler, we'll head back there and go and have a look for her again. Oh, you see it? Rhino. Awesome. Good spot. Go this way. So there is a rhino, guys. Chilling in a mud wallow. This guy's definitely got the right idea. If I could join you, I would, rhino. And then when I'd heard those oxpeckers, I wondered, is that the buffalo? And then BK spots a rhino. Good spot. Just love watching a rhino's ears. You know, with so many animals, they have a limb or a body part that seems to act as its own animal. You know, you think about a leopard's tail. The way a leopard's tail moves cracks me up all the time. The little end of that tail's own little digit in its own little world, its own little animal almost. And that's like a rhino's ears for me. Constantly moving, listening to what's going on around them. I wonder if he's gonna lie down again. Still too hot to leave the water, boy. Have a lie down. Enjoy your pool. looks like he wants to. Alexis, he does look a bit like a tank, and it is a common thing with rhinos. Folds of skins do kind of make it look like they're wearing armor. Don't know if you've seen the pictures of the Indian rhinos or the Sumatran rhinos, but them in particular look like they're wearing armor. See all the flies on his back.
International Women's Day is on the 8th of March. In celebration, one of our all-time favorite female guides is coming back. Jamie Patterson will be hosting a special Safari Sisters Ask Me Anything. This incredible lady is a trained naturalist, qualified safari guide, and self-confessed bush lover. We look forward to hearing about her life in the male-dominated safari industry. Come with your questions ready to chat about being a wonderful wild woman of Wild Earth. See you there.
Yeah, well, sitting at one of the dams around the area here at Madikwe, and of course, who else other than this beautiful blacksmith lapwing being around the dam, at all the dams. And this, when you're talking about Women's Day today, because it is International Women's Day, and we are celebrating all the ladies around the world, and even with animals as well, and birds. Now, coming to Women's Day, and the respect that I have as well with a lot of all different kinds of ladies, from the animals to the birds to everything. Now, coming to the blacksmith lapwing. Now, how amazing is a female blacksmith lapwing? They are absolutely unbelievable, because they are one of the birds that will protect their eggs, their chicks, from even the largest of mammals on earth, and they will stand their ground. And these blacksmith lapwing birds, I think, are just incredible with that. I've seen it before. I've witnessed it not once. I've seen it a few times. Even last year there at Djuma, I witnessed a blacksmith lapwing, female blacksmith lapwing, actually protecting her eggs from a huge herd of buffalo that came down to one of the dams. And those buffaloes all just kind of veered around that nesting area while she stood over her eggs of course, flared out her wings and made sure that those buffaloes knew that there was her little eggs that are sitting on the ground. But it's amazing. And as well with the elephant, coming down to the watering hole. I saw a big herd of elephants just coming straight down to a water hole. It was maybe about 15 to 20 elephants. And of course, they were heading straight for the blacksmith lapwing's nest, because they do nest on the ground. And of course, she just stood there and made sure that those elephants weren't going to stand on her eggs. And of course, the matriarch, the elephant matriarch of the herd itself, picked up the trunk, flared out the ears, checked this blacksmith lapwing protecting its eggs, and just the whole herd just kind of did a V around the nest and went to the water and just moved away. And those eggs were pretty much kept all safe because of the female blacksmith lapwing. So it just shows you a heart of gold and a heart of a lion for such a small animal. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And that's why I always do respect even these birds as a species and how they do protect their areas and their dams. But I love them, don't you? I think it's got the most beautiful, it's not like striking colors, but it's just the contrast between the black, the white, and the gray. And it's just so perfect. I'm always running along these edges of the dam, catching little water arthropods, and Igor and myself just saw, caught something, maybe like a fish or a tadpole or something from the water not too long ago, and had a nice little meal for the afternoon. I don't see the other partner, I just see the one. Oh, there's the other one. You see on the other side there, Igor. Yeah, just see a bit of black and white there. And of course, and these partners are always keeping contact with one another, and when they do protect the areas and when they do communicate, they make that typical blacksmith, like a ding, 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 and that's hence the name blacksmith lapwing. Other one just lying, maybe, it's like lying down, or looks like it. Yeah, it looks like lying down just in there. Maybe a little nest, maybe a little nest there or something. Maybe it might be just incubating some eggs. I'm not too sure, but it is definitely in one of the footholds of an elephant, or maybe a buffalo or something that came down to the dam. Oh, little bee eaters as well flying around here. Beautiful little European bee eaters. I got it there. Oh, look at that. Look, watch. Sorry, it's just gone. Anyway, well, we're going to sit here much longer because there's definitely looks like some nice birding around this side. While we sit here and just take a look what else that does come down here. Let's head over to Pridelands with Rexon, as he's got some elephants.
Elephants.
Lovely. We have a beautiful close range of these elephant while we are away from you, and unable to describe or identify one of the two elephant here, one called Dest. Of course, it's not first time for this elephant to be. One does have a collar and is moving with great confidence and attitude of controlling. There's only two elephants here which are similar in a very good condition. They might be in the same age. You can tell they are, in particular with this female, trying to go along with the female, and all these young boys are coming behind. You can see that are waiting for the big bulls. Maybe, I don't know what's going to happen. It could be a learning session here, that how is the other going to do when it comes to mating here with this particular female. It's a great sighting, of course. It makes myself here, I'm learning quite a lot on the behavior on a daily basis when it comes to elephant. It's such amazing. The two of them, you can see that they might be in the same age, but one is really dominating. Once he stops, the rest they stop. I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe the female itself, she's still having more days to go before full mass. That can happen. Maybe it's 2 weeks or 1 week before. You never know. But what's going to happen if the big bull in Mars gets here, Zulwini, with this a particular female? We'll see, who witness a very great experience here. Might Zulwini take over according to his body weight and also his height and old age, that more experience is going to handle the female unless if mating has taken place already, because you know that once the elephant is in full mass, what it's going to do, you'll defend, you'll fight in any scenario that might take place with the other males, and they respect one another according to how full mass you are. But you know, a male elephant can take at least 6 months, I mean, having a full mass in the body system. If it doesn't utilize, it can cut it and keep going until it gets to come across with a female. And mating is very rare. Even elephant are overpopulated, you know that the period of elephant to be in estrus, it might take up to 2 to 3 years before the mate. All these elephants look like they have youngster, which they're going to check a process at least to raise the youngster 2 years, and after that it will be expectation. So it could be something that is highly, highly important. It might take some days, years, before even come across with the female and mate. Because raising they walk a lot from one area to another. If you understand what's going on with this herd of elephant, you tend to establish a very good story and really loving what's going on here. Because I know that at the end of the day, it will be a mating that takes place on the female, but how actually take place, how they decide, all of that, honest speaking, we need to stay with the elephant and learn. Is it true that the older male is the one that's going to mate? We're not sure of that, but we know that the one that's in true mass is the one that's going to mate, even if it's not older than the one that is taking place at the moment. But in full mass is the one that's able to mate. The reason behind that, if you are full mass and it's not a fake one, it means you're in a period that you can really pass on the gene. It's a healthy gene and stronger. It's very intimidating if you look at the way these young males and the males are all working together, following one individual female. Bush Baby asking question, what is the role of the female that's not a matriarch in the head? What is the role of it actually? The role of that particular female, of course, is to help to raise the youngster. Security, you know, you always safety in numbers. If you're not in numbers, you're not going to be safety. Out in nature, animal like far as elephant, baboons, lions, buffalo, etc., there have to be safety in numbers. So the numbers, the more the number is built up, the more it's well respected by predators. So a herd of at least 10 or 15, if it's young elephant there, you don't realize 15, 20 elephant, 20 lions that can really try even to hunt the youngster. But if it's in numbers, what's going to happen? It's well respected. Even the cub is well respected. They're always given a space of no doubt that is a dangerous animal. They need to move out if it's a lion. If you look at the number of elephants that are here, even us human beings come across with this structure or numbers on elephant, how big is the elephant? You cannot even try to walk within or try to do bushwalk in the area where they are, because they can be so much protective from the youngster. But the very number of elephant, which is less than 10, you can able to walk and get close account of an elephant. It's nothing that really poses a very serious dangerous if you approach, unless if you don't know how to approach elephant. So you have to stay away. But people, guides or naturalists that are very well trained to really approach a dangerous animal in food, you can really try to do so. And all the time you have to analyze how big is the structure. That is more important. If it's a big structure, don't ever try to get close, because it's where the danger is. So you might answer the question with the all individual members that are within the head of an elephant. Their duties is all about safety of the youngster, all individual in general, into the breeding herd itself. I'm loving this, more especially when the elephant comes to the water and wallow and swim and all that. It was great, but once the elephant is out and grazing, it's a very boring sighting. It will really take me to somewhere else to try to find maybe lions. Let's take this opportunity with the living elephant yet in Ndlovu Dam Pride Land over to Serbia.
Well, we, myself and BK, are hoping if we just stare at this rhino in the water, it will feel like we are with him in the water, and his joy from being in the cool water will be contagious, and we'll feel the help of the cooling water on our skin. So we're sitting in the shade and relaxing with this rhino bull, just enjoying the sounds going on around us. And one of the sounds we're hearing, and one of the things we're seeing, is how much this rhino is farting. He is full of gas, keeps farting into the water, putting out lots of bubbles. But that's all because he is a hindgut fermenter. All that fermentation happening in his digestive system, byproduct being gas, it's got to go somewhere. He just keeps farting it out.
He's farted.
And very, not shameful of it. We shouldn't be either. Wonder how the terrapins feel in that water right now.
57.
He's even got his tail floating up a bit just to make some extra room. Jenny, I don't think he's pondering about much. He looks like he's just, the only thought going through his brain right now is, ooh, that feels good. He's found the spot.
I feel good.
Maybe he's got a lady on his mind. It's International Women's Day after all. Because of the digestive system being hindgut fermenter, rhinos and zebras and elephants and all the hindgut fermenters typically have a bit of a worse digestive system than a ruminant because it's less processed. Even when you look at their dung, you can see how it's, you can still see the grass shards in it, whereas if you look at a ruminant's dung, it's almost pureed, very, very well processed. So they need to eat more, the hindgut fermenters, for their body weight to be able to obtain the same amount of nutrients or the nutrients that they need, because it's so badly digested, so much of it just leaves their body when they go to the toilet. You think about an elephant's poo and how the marulas come out whole so often, not even touched by the digestive system. I think we're going to pass you guys over to have a little view of a beautiful hippo clip.
For many female mammals, the trials of life are shared with other females. Hippos live in pods, mostly made up of cows, their calves, and a few young bulls yet to be chased out by the dominant male. But for hippos and many other herd animals, the process of birthing a new life is a very lonely one, fraught with pain and uncertainty. It is also the most exposed time in a female mammal's life. Not only is she often away from the safety of the group, she is physically vulnerable during the act of giving birth, unable to move quickly should a threat appear. Once her baby is born, she is often weakened from the effort, but unable to rest as she takes on the mantle of motherhood. Once back in the pod, however, the benefits of being in sorority are excellent. The burden of parenting is shared in creches of calves, protected and cared for by the collective.
Well, we've decided to play the patience game. Apparently, as girls, we can play it sometimes better than some of the men I've ever met. So we are trying to see if we can out-patience Mareebs, who's having the time of his life. He's just basically done nothing since you last saw us. I lie. He flopped, he got up, faced us, and then flopped down again. So that's been the some extent of what he's done. He does seem to have a bit of a belly on him. Maybe that wasn't as big this morning. But he wasn't looking particularly
my
bad
belly.
when we saw
Get
him,
this
but,
my
just a
belly.
bit of a meal. And then there was a hyena that came and joined. I'm not sure if it's Intima, because I was also discussing with Olaf how maybe the hyenas don't seem to be at their useful den. So I don't know if this is the right information, but it seems like maybe they've moved after that whole debacle with Molowati. And I know they were in the little Gari den, but I don't know if they've been found in a den after that. But this particular hyena sort of seemed to be coming from Rebecca's area, so I wonder if maybe they're not sort of considering using those old dens that they had on Rebecca Zoe's area. Would explain maybe why the hyena came from that angle and why they haven't been around here, because we went and checked the dens around Taxon's Road, which is right here. But I mean, if hyenas haven't been here and if they had a den there, pretty much all of them would have been around here. So it's the hyena that did come and join, just went around the bush and then just hid a little bit further there. Mareebs didn't even care. Sort of growled and hissed a little bit, and then the hyena just looked at him and was like, no, the food's not on the ground. It doesn't matter. And then it just continued on, and then Mareebs carried on with his very joyful sleep. I'm still hoping that your sister's going to show up, because I really want to see her. I haven't seen her in a while, and she's so pretty. Saber and I were actually having this conversation at lunchtime. It's just she first of all mentioned that Tlalamba is quite a big girl, because Saber used to work at Simambili, so she knows some of the females on that side, and Tiani and Shidul in particular are very big females, but she said Tlalamba is also very big, much more so than Tandi, but very beautiful. I do, and as I said this morning, I find her to be potentially the prettiest one in this area, just aesthetically. She's just pretty. She just is. She's a little princess. You, on the other hand, suppose I've got to give it to you. We can cut you some slack this afternoon, because you did a lot this morning. Tasha, you're wondering if male leopards stick with the females after mating. Well, in the case of leopards, it's quite funny when it comes to mating, because the females are really the ones that are seeking out the males, and then it's quite something to watch, because they become so desperate to be mated with, and I've seen some of them, they flick their tails and their bums in the male's face, and then I've seen some of them sit on top of the male's face because they wouldn't mate with them. But generally, after they're done mating, the female's not going to be interested in the male, and the male is just not quite interested in the female, so they kind of go their own ways. They don't form associations that last a long time, males and females. When you'll see sort of male and female together, it's sometimes the case of the young male with their mother. Some young males don't take it too easy to leaving their mothers, and they tend to stick around and then just share kills with or forcibly share kills with their mothers and their new offspring. But generally speaking, you don't really see them together. It's not like a lion that you'll see with the lionesses more often than not. Leopards they tend to do their own thing. Pretty much loners, self-sufficient, not too interested in each other's company. Well, at least you've got your eyes open, so that's better. It's hot today, but you've got a good spot. You should have gone around looking for those elephants. That was hot. Olaf and us and I were saying that we At one stage, he couldn't see the back of the camera, and I couldn't see the road. So that would have been a great combination for disaster. So we were driving into the sun at one stage just to try and to get back here. But worth it. We shall stay here until the end of drive, Maribs. Hopefully your sister will come back and then show you that you don't really get to steal another leopard's kills and, nothing happened to you. I mean, if Lalamba were to come here, their chances are that there would be some level of aggression, and Volker should be upset because he's been eating her kill. But I'd be surprised if it escalates to a full-on aggression level. Don't think it would. Maybe some growling, some hissing. Could get loud. But I don't think it would be too much. Maybe he, should chase him. I actually saw Tundi once, funny enough, pretty much in the same spot. She was almost sharing a kill with Tsemba, and Tsemba is Kuchava's previous offspring to Nsumi. So that was interesting, and Lalamba was very pregnant, perhaps why, that's why she wasn't too interested in chasing him away, but they were so close to one another, and while she ate, he didn't, and then when she left, he did. Another repeat of information, or the repeat of the scenario of what we're going through now. We just need her to come back. He's just looking out. There was another vehicle that joined the sighting, so if you see him, that he perked his ears up and then started looking in this direction. One of the hyenas, I can't even tell you where it is in this long grass, but it was moving around here and then just sat down, plopped down the hyena too. We're all patiently waiting. We're waiting for Maribs to go up the tree. Hyena's waiting for Maribs to go up the tree and then drop the kill so that he can steal it away. And then we are waiting to watch all of this happen. Who says it's all fun and easy in this job? I think if there's one thing that wildlife has taught me and doing this particularly with wild earth, is just learning to be patient. Because if things do happen, they tend to happen in one instant, but they always tend to be very exciting. Are you sleeping? I mean, the more I look at him, the more I feel like sleeping like that.
Well, as you can see, we've got a beautiful Swyson's Franklin. It's all Swyson's Spurfell, more like it. It's just going into the thickets at the moment, that beautiful red face on there. And saw just the one. They do travel around in pairs, but I don't see the other one. It's just got into the thickets now. Maybe it'll pop out for us now. You can do it. Oh, a butterfly just going past there. Where are you? He's a pretty birdie. Looks like the birds are all avoiding us today, because we were framed up on a purple roller, and the purple roller decided to take off, and then we found the little Swyson's Spurfell. Now the Swyson's Spurfell has decided to go and hide there. Oh, thank you, well done. There it is. Hello. Was picking at the ground, looking for the little seeds there. That's it. Stunning. I love those red faces. A couple of different Franklins and Spurfell species that we do get in this area, and definitely the Swyson's Franklin so far to me has been the most common one. I mean, if you're looking down at Djuma, it's usually the Natal Spurfell or the crested Franklin that you get quite often that side. Maybe you're picking at something. I don't know, maybe even ants, because sometimes they'll actually feed on little ants or even termites. So you never know what it's picking at there at the bottom. I have seen them going for ants, which is, yeah, so they're pretty much omnivorous. So yeah, so they are just taking a look exactly. I'm trying to look carefully at what they can see. Now, I'm sure maybe just some seeds that's fallen down.
you're wondering what we're looking at and what these little spots that are panting and going up and down again, just wanted to remind everyone that we are looking at Mareeps, which is one of our favorite young male leopards that roams around this area, especially over here in South Africa. Oh, hello. And Djuma Private Game Reserve. So we have been trying to spend as much time as possible with him because he's been very sneaky today and he's actually stolen his sister's kill. His sister is another leopard, not from the same litter. She's a sister from a previous litter, but they come from the same mother. If you're wondering about that stuff up there on the tree over there, that is where the impala is. Olaf, I was trying to stretch and pretend that my arms were incredibly long, but I don't think I managed to do that. For everyone that's just joining us, welcome. This is a live and interactive show, and we are very happy to have you all here. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today is Olaf. And we just want to remind everyone that you can send us your comments and your questions. What is happening? Oh, that's a car. I thought there was other commotion. You can send us your comments and your questions by subscribing either to the website or the app, or of course you can always subscribe onto the YouTube channel just to keep up to date with everything that we do and all the beautiful animals that we send. Or that we see, and then we put on camera. We don't send them anywhere. We just send them to your living rooms or to your bedrooms or to your phones across the world. But we like them here. I'm not going to take them anywhere. Don't know how that happened. We've been with him pretty much the whole afternoon. We did take a break and then go wandering off and looking for other creatures such as elephants and so on. But I think sticking around here might be a good thing because eventually he's going to go up. He's going to get hungry and we've got two options. He's either going to go down for a drink somewhere. There's a big dam not too far from here where he might go. And of course there are a bunch of puddles in between here and there. Or he might just go up the tree to finish eating some of the kill, which would be nice. My hope is that while he's up there on the tree eating the kill a little bit later on, his sister's going to come back. And then just remind him that it's really actually a little bit rude to eat food that you haven't caught yourself. Not that he's too worried now. I think the biggest irritation in his life are the flies that are fluttering all around him. He is very funny when he does that. So it seems like they have an impala ram, and that's what was dangling from the tree. And in general, leopards, especially in areas with high densities of hyena, they tend to put their kills or hoist their kills on the trees because this way hyenas cannot actually get to them. So they can be on the ground like Mareeps is while the kill is safely stashed away. There's actually a hyena around here, not entirely sure where because it's also lied down in the long grass, so we don't have a visual of it, but we've seen it and we know it's around. So while the kill is up there, there are no little ones involved, there are no cubs involved. So it's almost like all bets are off, and then hyenas and leopards will both lie on the ground without attacking each other because there's really no need for it. But once the leopard goes up and it starts feeding on the tree, you'll see the hyena is probably going to come a little bit closer to the tree because they know. If they patiently wait, chances are that the leopard is going to make some sort of mistake and it's going to drop pieces of meat or perhaps even the entire carcass. And when that happens, the hyenas are always very quick to just pick up the carcass and then just take it. And then there might be a bit of an interaction between the hyenas and the leopards, if anything. He is still a young male leopard. He hasn't developed his dewlap, which is this extra flap of skin under the neck. He doesn't have a territory of his own. He's not mating with any females just yet, but as time goes on, then he is slowly approaching that time of his life. So he was born, I'm going to say roughly in this general area, but chances are that he won't stay here forever, sadly, although as much as we would want him to stay, young male leopards tend to disperse. They tend to move off the area where they were born because as they get older, then of course they become a potential threat to their parents. They can compete with females for mating rights, and then of course other adult male leopards might want to come in, might want to push sort of his dad away from his territory or him. So there's a whole Game of Thrones interaction that could happen. But as long as we've got him, then I think we're going to try and enjoy him as much as we can. Because he really, as we saw on this morning's drive, he really is one of a kind. He's got a very funny personality and he does things that you don't always see leopards doing, funny things. Got a very playful nature. Now, I say playful, but playful away from us humans. If I were to get out of the car and try to pet him, he wouldn't be impressed. Either I would give him the fright of his life and he would run away from me, or he would feel completely threatened that he would have to come and sort of attack me. And either way, I don't want to have that fright, and I don't want to give him that fright. So I think we're just gonna continue sitting here from where we are, just watching him trying to bite and chew some of the flies that are annoying him. I think we're lucky because we're not getting any flies where we are. Sometimes when we sit close to the kills, not only the smell, which can be, the smell of rotting meat in the sun is not great, but all of the flies all around is not great. Lela, I agree. He is really a character, and whenever you see him, like if you stick around long enough for him to actually be active and do things, chances are that you're going to see something that's at least going to make you giggle. Or you're just going to look at him and you're going to go like, no, that's not leopard behavior. No, why are you doing that? So we like to keep up with his life and the life of all the cats and all of the other creatures and characters we recognize around here, because the beauty about going on safari is that a lot of the animals tend to stick around the same areas. Either they defend it from other areas and then, they're territorial and they don't allow other male leopards to come into their areas or other lions to come into their areas and so on. Or we just sort of fall within a part of their home range, which can be quite good, in which case, they're happy to share the space with other animals of the same species, but they sort of tend to come around every now and again. This is more the case of elephants and perhaps bigger herds of buffalo like the one we had this morning that's just decided to disappear, and then of course female rhino as well. Look at you scratching. You got so lucky today. I wonder how he actually, I think he might have sniffed the kill, because if he was coming from, he was moving south in general from where we left him this morning, and then he went into that drainage line. So if he were to walk on that drainage line all the way here, it's not that far for, a leopard's walk instead of how the crow flies. And he must have timed this perfectly. I don't think Lalamba's been around here the whole day, because if she were, I don't think she would be so happy for him to still be sitting here. Alana, I think the current hyena is potentially 10 meters away from him. That is my guess as to where the hyena is. But it won't be the same as sometimes, I don't know if you've watched the show for a long time, but you've seen that sometimes maybe the hyenas and the wild dogs, they tend to all sleep together, which is very strange. But as long as there's no real interest, as long as he's not eating food on the ground, they can be, sort of 5 meters. I've seen some leopards lie down 5 meters away from hyenas, sometimes even closer than that. And then as long as he's not posing a threat to the hyena or otherwise, or that there's no food involved or youngsters, they tend to be quite tolerant of each other. It's almost like, let's not waste any energy pretending that we're going to chase each other off. Sort of time out. Once you get up on the tree or you start dropping things, then we see things differently. Or, as soon as the leopards make a kill, if the hyenas were to find the leopard making the kill, they would also swoop in and try to get the kill away from the leopard and just take it from her themselves. It's a tough life out there. You don't only have to be very powerful, but you've got to be very quick. Not that this cat at this stage reflects much of that, but he doesn't really have to. Doesn't really have to go up there and be hot. He can just chill down here for a little bit, rest. He's been moving quite a bit during the day, clean his coat. And once he gets hungry, then maybe he'll go up there, or if he gets thirsty, find a puddle somewhere, go have a few sips, and then go back up to the kill. Oh, look at you grooming. That's a typical stare, isn't it, of the cat that's very much asleep. It's just one eye, half the nose, just looking very, very far, far away, or with their stare that's looking very far away, not really looking at any of us. I think it's still quite hot. If you look at his stomach, you see it's still going up and down very quickly. I wouldn't want to have my jersey on right now, so I think he's got a good spot in there. But of course, if he's been eating, if he's digesting, then he could be producing some heat himself, so he's got to pant a little bit more to try and cool himself down. Sorry, I don't know why the words came out like that. But at least the sun is finally going down, which we like. Tends to make animals want to move a little bit more in the summertime. Had it been nice and overcast today, I think maybe today, this afternoon would have been a little bit different. But the sun just all of a sudden appeared around about midday. So I think that kind of grounded a lot of the animals, and a lot of them preferred not moving around. They've just been in the spots where they were left this morning. Except of course for him. We did not leave him here this morning. But he's been here now for a good couple of hours.
The state of our planet is now critical. Children are the future conservationists, and it is more important than ever that we reach them. By encouraging them to understand nature, love it, and interact with it, we hope that they will want to preserve it. At Wild Earth, we are now able to bring back our Wild Earth Schools program, thanks to our explorers. Thanks to you guys for helping to reach kids from all over the globe and teach them about nature. Wild Earth Explorers. King Prince.
So it's quite crazy as well, the sort of difference in temperature down here in the basin compared to up on top of the basin itself, because when we were on top there was a lot of wind, it was quite cold, we got our jackets out, and now that we've come down here it's quite a bit more sheltered, and without the wind it's really hot. So we've taken our jerseys off, and you can also see by the amount of ear flapping that Azika is doing that you know, an indication of the temperature. So it's quite a lot warmer down here, and there's hardly any wind. But as soon as we go up out of the basin, it chills out again because of that wind that's coming through. So it's just different in different parts of the reserve. You really feel a difference in temperature. I think we will go and try and catch up with those lions again. They are en route for our pathway towards where we stay. So I like to do a little bit of circling around like that. But I did want to come and see what's happening on the eastern side of the reserve. And yeah, nice to catch up with the buffalo and an elephant. The breeding herd is all the way in the west, and they're in an area that is quite difficult to access, as well as not too much signal. Now, Ian, thanks for your comment. It really is, you know, in some senses, it does remind me a little bit of the Mara Triangle this basin that we get here in the Bushman's sort of cutout area that we have here on the Amakhala Reserve. Similar in the way it looks to the Masai Mara. But yeah, excuse me, very, very different climate, I must say. We're not as hot as they are in the Masai Mara, and we do have a very big impact from the ocean here too. So the wind, it comes through regularly almost every single day, and it's something that you learn to live with. But if you're not used to it, it is it's something really strange and it can be really, really strong every day. Except for some periods of the year, we're sort of heading into a period where we have less wind, but generally you can count on it being windy most days. Oh, it looks like another bull has just popped out. Is that our collie? He's got both his tusks, so it might be him, the big bull himself. So, and what a beautiful beast he is. Righty, so as it is Women's Day, and we've been celebrating that today, and with good reason. And another good reason to celebrate is obviously we're going to head you on over to a lovely clip with hyenas.
A spotted hyena clan is unusual in mammalian society. Not because it is led by females, but because the females are so utterly dominant over the males. They are much bigger than their masculine counterparts, and possessed of a pseudopenis. In other words, they even look like males to the uninitiated. Even the lowest ranked female might be able to dominate adult males in the clan. The matriarch rules the clan like a mafia don, with political allegiances, threats, intimidation, and violence. Her place at the top of the hierarchy is never completely secure, and she must constantly ward off challenges and maintain bonds with fickle political allies. Sometimes she can lose her exalted position to a rival. She might then live the rest of her days on the periphery, or, if she is able, mount a comeback to retake the matriarchy. While they do not appear to play much of a mentorship role to young members, the females are the chief defenders of the territory, often led into battle by the matriarch herself. They also pass their status, high or low, on to their little ones. It is not all violence and scheming, however. Spotted hyena mothers are some of the most attentive, caring, and gentle in nature.
Well, troops, not much to report here. We're still on the cat watch. He's moved a little bit, tucked himself a little bit better, killed some more flies, groomed a little bit more. Other than that, same story. He's just taking it very easy this afternoon, but thankfully we've got nowhere else to be, so we can just spend some time with him. Because I was saying earlier, chances are that we won't be able to spend a lot of time with him in the next couple of years, so fingers crossed he'll do something amazing today so that we'll remember him forever. How's that for a bit of drama? Now, this is not unusual leopard behavior. A lot of the times the cats tend to sleep quite a bit during the heat of the day, and then they just rest by the shade, and they become a bit more active in the hours of low light. So they're more what we define as a crepuscular animal instead of a nocturnal animal. They move around sort of at dawn and dusk. That's when they really get that edge on their prey species. But, I mean, having said that, they can just really move whenever they feel like it, as long as the conditions are okay. I'm actually a little bit jealous. I would like to tuck myself in there and then just kind of go cuddle him and then, just sleep there in the grass. That would be great. Almost looks like just legs. Almost looks like an octopus. No legs in there. No head. I wonder if there's some sort of leopard octopus. I'm sure there's got to be one. I was fascinated when that documentary, my octopus teacher, came out, and I learned that there's a thing called a pajama shark. That to me is one of the best things in the planet, and I would really like to see one in the wild. But I suppose first I need to brave or man up and actually get in the water in Cape Town, which I'm not too keen to do because that water is very cold. Oh, well, there was a chagra that just flew by. I thought it was something else for a moment. Maribs, we're going to send you across to a very cool clip about some very cool females out in the wild. One that Maribs would probably not enjoy bumping into right now.
Lion prides are the very essence of sisterhood. Lion in society is dependent on the pride, and the pride, contrary to popular belief, is not male. Rather, a lion pride consists of a powerful sorority of lionesses and their dependent offspring. It is a cohesive, ferocious, and protective unit, held together by constant affirmation, affection, discipline, and teamwork. The sisterhood is so mutually dependent that they will suckle and care for each other's cubs, ever protective of the most vulnerable. Orphans will be immediately absorbed by the collective mothering of the pride. In the pride, a lioness can grow old in relative comfort and confidence, knowing that her needs will be provided by her sisters, albeit until she is too old to keep up.
Well, it's pretty hard to see right now, guys, but there is in fact a multitude of lions lying in that grass. And the reason why, oh, maybe pan to that guy over there. At least his head is out of the grass. One of the young males coming to join the rest. Looks like the a herd of elephants must have pushed them out from where they were initially sleeping, where we left them this morning. And perhaps the elephants inspired a bit of movement in them and they decided to come for a drink of water. And perhaps this young male is going to come and lie in the shade of our vehicle. Oh, the others are already all the way over there, BK. Across the road already. You can see how easily they're all disappearing in the grass. And this is very cool, guys, because there is an elephant here as well. Just in front of our vehicle, we have lions on either side of the vehicle and an elephant in front of the vehicle. Maybe the same one that pushed them out earlier. Following them around, maintaining dominance. It's always great to see when there's two such iconic species in one sighting. Unkumas are still looking rather well fed after feeding on the giraffe kill that they had. And while we were tracking the herd of buffaloes, we saw that they had indeed crossed out of Djuma into the next door property. So hopefully these lions don't catch a whiff of that and end up following them out of Djuma as well, since the Unkumas are such great buffalo hunters. Katie, you're so right. We have had such a great afternoon. There's been so much going on. Djuma has been on fire. Lots going on the property today. And there's probably so much more we don't even know about. This lioness with her head up out of the grass just doesn't even look like it's here. This looks like it could be in the Serengeti somewhere, guys. Look how beautiful that is. And Birchall's cuckoo calling in the background. You coming right up to say hello, girl? She's quite intrigued by the elephants. That's what she's busy watching. Who is slowly moving off by the looks of it. Who said lions don't move in the day, hey? He just needed a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of elephant inspiration, a little bit of a shove. Well, BK can pull the ticks off of her if he wanted to. She's coming right next to him. Practically touching the vehicle. Oh, she wants the shade of our car. That feels good. Yolandi, you are right. They are really piercing eyes. Lions and leopards alike have the most beautiful eyes. When they look at you, it's the best feeling out there. She is a big girl. Look at the size of those paws, guys. Some well-deserved shade. Lisa, they are not particularly afraid, but they're going to give each other some healthy space. Elephants are quite a bit larger than lions and tend to be bullies. So if they do come across lions, they often chase them. But in some areas of Africa, it's quite a regular thing for lions to hunt elephants. So the tables can turn, but they need to be quite adapted and need to have done it before. I don't believe that the Nkumas are going to start hunting elephants today. I think the shade from our vehicle is becoming quite popular. He's going to be a handsome fellow when he's bigger, isn't he? We really are like their beach umbrella today. Certainly feels like a beach day in this heat. I'm loving it though. Seems to have gone fast asleep next to us. What I do love though was when he had his paw up, how you could see this difference in size already. This young male lion, his paws are going to grow quite a bit already, but the difference in size between a male lion and a female lion's paws. They are rather smelly.
Welcome to Juma. We have got some elephants here as well. It seems like all of the animals are all over today. And of course, they heard that Mel is going to say live, so they've disappeared now, going onto the dam wall. But hopefully, they'll come out of the bushes again and show themselves. Hopefully, they come this way and they come for a drink or a swim. That would be even better. I would not mind that one bit. But it's quite a few individuals. I think I counted at least 8 or 10. And they do have a little one. Oh, hi Egyptian geese. They do have a little one with them as well. But how silly can you be? You silly animals. You just were on the road, facing the camera, saying hello, saying Happy International Women's Day. And then all of a sudden you got camera shy. What happened? We'll be patient. We can do that for you. Now that was especially for you. It is super sad to think that very soon we will not be hearing the woodlands kingfisher anymore. I know it's a lot of people are like, ugh, the woodlands kingfishers, but we have to embrace them while we can. Heffalumps, please come out. We ask of you very nicely.
Well, Hoover got hungry after a long while. He decided to make his way very effortlessly up the tree, and now he's just having something to eat. There's still quite a bit left in there, so it's good that he gets in there just before Lalamba gets here, if she does come back. Because, oh, there's a bit of a bone crunching, so if you find yourself feeling a little bit squeamish or this is not your cup of tea, then I suggest maybe you step away and then you join us a little bit later, because it's not that pretty, is it? But it is the best way that he's got to sustain himself, and unfortunately for leopards to actually be able to survive, they need to eat meat. So it's not always a pretty view, and then definitely the sound effects add to it, I'm sure. I think he was in the mood for some ribs today. I think it was also just coincidental, because by the way that he just sort of grabbed the carcass, and that's the way it worked out, and that's the easiest thing that he's got to eat. But it seems like there's a bit left on one of the legs that are dangling there, and there is one hyena now at the bottom of the tree. I don't think you can see it from where the camera is. I mean, I can barely see it with my own eyes, but it's there. Because now that he's eating, if he's not careful, he can drop the entire carcass, and then if he drops the carcass, then, you know, that's a win for the hyena. But even if he starts dropping little pieces of meat, little bones, ribs, then the hyena at the bottom will be very happy to receive any of those. What a view. You've been great with trees today, Mareebs. I'm really liking that he likes marula trees. Mel from FC just made a very funny joke. Sort of like a bit of a dad joke, though, I must say. He was like, my ribs, is it in my ribs? It was funny, though, I giggled. I think we'll give you brownie points for that one. And I think Mareebs is quite happy to be eating those ribs anyway. So he's a happy kitty. I mean, he's got a full belly. He's... Okay. Mel's apologizing. She's saying that she cannot take credit for that joke, that that was a D2 to the US, so well done. We all giggled here in the car. We thought it was funny. I suppose if Mareebs wanted to, he could have a bit of a gangster voice as well. So, oh boy, if you're not careful, I feel like all that head's gonna come down. And there's a lot of meat in the neck still. Enough for the hyena to be happy if he does drop everything. It was interesting because he dragged it further up. I don't think he was comfortable eating it wherever Tlalamba left the kill. So it was sitting in the fork of the tree, and then he's just moved it all the way up here. So maybe he likes marula trees with a bit more space, as we saw this morning. That's a lot of crunching. There's a hyena going away. Oop. I don't know if any of you can actually identify it from what we just saw. I definitely cannot. But if you guys want to send in your comments and tell us who it is, that would be great. It's always nice putting the puzzle together and see who came to join the party. I know Intima was here in the morning, and this one just joined later on. So it could still be Intima, or it could be somebody else. Maybe Intima somewhere around here too. Don't know. The grass is very long. It could be an entire clan hiding here and we wouldn't know. Look at you and your chubby belly. You see, he's trying to cut through the bones there, so he's using the back of his teeth, as we call it the cornea shear, the way that the teeth are put in. It acts like a scissor, so he's just trying to cut potentially through the meat that is in between the ribs to get into more of the meat, or to get into the top of the neck, just to be able to eat that. And you see, whenever he manages to cut through the skin, then he comes out with a big chunk. So he's not using so much his front teeth at this stage, but rather his back teeth, his molars, to cut and slice through that, even through some of the bones, so that he can get to whatever meat is left in there. See, even when you make a kill, or when you steal a kill and you don't actually have to make the kill, it's still a bit of work involved in actually trying to get all of the meat and making sure that you get your money's worth of your meal. Alrighty, seems like you guys have managed to identify that hyena by that half of a spot that we saw. I'm very impressed. It seems like that is indeed Intima. So it's good to see that at least she's been loyal to her posting for the day. She hasn't really wandered much far off. Thought maybe she had managed to grab something, but I think it was just a click of a camera. Oh, Mareebs. I'm not sure you're doing this correctly. Because if he manages to slice through the skin and the neck goes down, then not only the neck's gonna go down, also the back leg that's got a bit of meat left is gonna fall down. So I don't think he's wedged it in there properly. So you've got to be careful, because otherwise you and your sister are gonna be left without dinner tonight.
Okay, folks. Call it early. Thanks for watching.
That's right. What could happen though is if he drops the kill, and if, let's say that it separates into two pieces, he could still go back down, grab one, and then take it back up. Catherine, a leopard's tail is very important when it comes to balancing. Not only when they're going sort of up or down, but also when they're up there. So if he starts leaning onto the one side, then he can use the tail to balance out and then not fall. So it is quite important to them. It's not prehensile. They don't use it to wrap around it like some species of monkeys do. But they tend to use it for balancing, and that's maybe as much as cheetahs do when they're running fast, and then they use their tail as a steering. But still plays quite an important role. And I would dare to say that perhaps in a leopard, the tail, a very important role that it has is just to convey a lot of information. You can learn a lot about what a leopard is thinking, or what it might want to do, just by looking at the tail when it's walking, when it's thinking, and things like that.